Welcome back, crime sceners, or just welcome if you're new here. So I got a few emails from people who weren't exactly vibing with the new information I shared in that last video. And I love hearing it. Please keep it coming. But I think we're forgetting one small but very important detail. So as usual, the disclaimer, please note that any statements or opinions expressed here are purely speculative and are not intended to accuse any individual or entity of wrongdoing. Unless otherwise stated as fact, the information provided reflects personal observations and hypotheses. Any conclusions drawn from this content should be viewed in this context. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this thing around, because we never know who's going to have that vital clue that solves this whole thing. So I got sent a sketch of the office by someone who's been there before that I wanted to show everyone. Now this is the one I got first, and this is the one I showed in the last video. Now this is the one I had sent to me. Now this is pretty different. As you can see, this one is saying that M had a separate office, which makes it not so much of an open plan space at all. This one says there were large windows separating the reception area and the office area. The kitchen is in a different spot. In the first one, there would have been 2 windows there, but in the second one of the windows would have been in M's office. And more importantly, there are more desks, which I was wondering about because there were 2 other people who worked in that office besides the receptionist, M and Nanette. So this kind of makes more sense that it has more desks, because I was wondering where those other people actually sat. I spoke to the person who sent the first one about the fact that there were more employees, and they said there may have been more desks. So please don't think that anyone is deliberately lying. These are 40-year-old memories. But which one do you think is the real one? Is there anyone out there who can verify if either one of these are right? And does it matter? The only reason why I was talking about the office in the first place is because I was wondering if anyone had overheard Nanette making her plans with Joan and the police officer and then ringing Craig. Now, the person who sent me the second sketch said that yes, you could hear everything in their office, so despite the differences in the look of the office, the fact that someone could have overheard Nanette making plans remains the same. But even if someone did manage to get in through an unlocked door, why would they choose that back bedroom to wait for her? Why not her bedroom? Why would they risk hiding in a kid's room? What if that kid came home? That would probably be the first place they'd go to when they got home. And like I said in a previous video, they wouldn't have known who was coming in the door with Nanette. She could have come home with a whole group of people. And what were they going to do then? It just doesn't make sense. And I did wonder in the last video if perhaps Nanette had been trying to shield her kids from the gravity of the situation. But then someone pointed out in the comments that she had weapons by the door. Of course, so they obviously knew something bad was going on. Would Greg have left the door unlocked, knowing his mother was scared enough to keep weapons by the door? Doubtful. He seemed to be quite protective of Nanette. At least that's what I got from his statement and the way he took care of her when the car broke down. I still maintain that the police know something that they're not sharing. I still think something else happened to make them think she was in actual danger. And we only have Craig's word that Greg jumped the back fence. That's not saying that he's lying. I mean, maybe he thought he did and he actually didn't. Maybe Greg did jump the back fence, but he left through the front door. Oh, and I just realised Craig was the last to leave. So even if Greg did go out the back door and jump the fence, surely Craig would have locked up the house before he left. Also, in regard to whether or not that back bedroom was Craig's or Greg's, there are identical bags. One is in the lounge room and one is in that back bedroom. Obviously, both boys had one each. So now we are looking at which one is which. Would it make sense that it was Greg's in the lounge room since he had just gotten home from school and it was Craig's in the bedroom? And that would mean it's probably Craig's room. Or would it make sense that the one in the back bedroom belonged to Greg and he's actually put it away in his room once he got home, and the one in the lounge room is Craig's? That would mean that the back bedroom is Greg's. So which one makes more sense? I think the one that makes more sense is that the bag in the lounge room is Greg's. He'd just come home, he probably threw it down, like every teenage boy when they come home from school. They don't necessarily go and put it straight in their room, they usually just throw it down where they come in. So Craig didn't go to school anymore. So it would make sense that his was the one that was put away in the room. So that would mean that the back bedroom belonged to Craig. That makes much more sense to me. But what do you guys think? Until I can get some kind of verification, I'm going on the assumption that that back bedroom was Craig's room. Ryan also made a very good point in the comments that Nanette had to unlock the back door herself because there was a lot of blood around the door, and he's absolutely right. Trying to fit the blood evidence into the narrative of the new information, I did think that there could have been a lot of blood there because by then she was getting weak, which I'm sure she was, given that there was so much blood she'd already lost by the time she made it to the door. There is quite a bit on the washing machine, and it kind of looks like she may have tried to keep herself up by leaning on the washing machine. So I think by the time she got to the back door, she was probably very drained. But I do remember that those locks could be very easy to open or very difficult to open. I know that the one that I had, the key was kind of loose in the door, and you had to hold it at a certain angle to get the thing to turn, which would have been kind of hard and would have taken a minute to be able to open it while you're bleeding out. And that could well be why there was so much blood around the door and the curtain. And as I said, I'm sure Craig would have locked up the house. If he didn't, why was he taking off and leaving an unlocked empty house for his police-escorted mother to come home to? But what we're forgetting about is the radio. I don't think Nanette turned it on herself. I've talked about this before using my own experience as an example, because I said that when I was scared in the house, and especially because she was alone in the house, I wouldn't have been playing music because I'd want to be able to hear if something was coming for me. But then Craig said that she had been listening to music with headphones on the day the car was vandalised in their yard. But that would make me think even more so that Nanette did not turn the radio on by herself, because it was only a couple of days before that she was listening to music and her car was vandalised without her hearing anything at all. I think that would scare someone enough that they wouldn't want loud music on in case something happened again. If she did turn it on herself, I have to wonder what on earth she was thinking. But that's why I don't think she turned it on herself. I think the killer turned it on to drown out her screams, and in that case, they would have had to have turned it on before the attack, which means they would have had to be in her room, which means she probably knew the attacker. So where does this put us? Pretty much right where we were before. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and have a great day.